All right, why don't we start one more, we start up again. Welcome back. Um, our next set begins with two violinists, except that the first violinist, Mark Tullis, is actually a violist. He complained to me about 2 weeks ago that there wasn't enough repertoire for the viola, and then decided to defect to the violins for his piece. Coincidentally, this gives Mark a break from having to hear a whole lot of cruel viola jokes. Those of you who either are in music or hang around musicians enough will know that violas tend to be the butt of jokes in many orchestras. So for one day, he gets to be free of that. Afterwards, we'll hear from Ruth McLeod, who will introduce her own piece and before performing it. But I do want to note here that Ruth M is a registered nurse and has been working very hard in the past months. She's been doing contact tracing and a whole bunch of other things. So big thank you to Ruth M for doing that. And then finally, Maria will perform for us Gabriel Fauré's Sicilienne. And Malcolm will round out the set with Antonin Dvorak's Humoresque, both on the cello.
Hi, everybody. Happy holiday. This is take 7, by the way. This is pretty funny. Anyway, my name is Ruth McLeod. I'm happy to be part of this great concert that's being put together for Strings Attached on behalf of the great work behind this with Ruth L. and Matthew. So thank you to those folks. The tune I'm going to play for you is called 250 to Vigo. And it was written by a great Scottish composer by the name of Angus Grant. It was introduced to me by a super fiddle teacher by the name of Leah Kirstein. So shout out to Leah. Hi, Leah. And Angus Grant wrote this after he had a super road trip that we're all craving to take. He took a road trip from the top of Scotland to the top of Spain to a little town called Vigo. So that's why it's called 250 to Vigo. Anyway, enjoy, everybody. Here we go. Happy holiday, everybody.
I'm Maria, and Jane is on the piano, and we would like to play for you Forest Sicilian.
Humoresque by Dvorak.
All right, and so that was Mark, Ruth, Maria, and Malcolm. At this point, let's hear from two of our members. Neil is our principal cellist and will be performing a piece with some rather interesting effects. And Mark Silverstein, who has the honor of being SAO's newest member, he joined back in September. He will introduce a piece with a personal connection. Neil, could you tell us a little bit about the effects in your piece and maybe why they're there?
Hello. So I'm usually a bit wary of modern classical music for being weird for the sake of being weird. But this piece, Concerto Rotondo by Giovanni Sollima, is weird for the sake of being awesome. The composer is a phenomenal cellist, so he knows all sorts of cool tricks you can do. For example, someone who listened to what I recorded mentioned that they thought at first that I was playing with a percussion backing track, but it's just the one cello playing. It's not really a concerto. What I'm doing at the beginning is pressing down the middle two strings with my middle finger to play notes on both of those strings, while also plucking the low string with my index finger and plucking the high string with my pinky finger. But the high string isn't being plucked as the open string. The middle finger that's pressing down the two middle strings is touching but not pressing the high string at just the right spot for it to make the 2-octave harmonic sound. The high and low strings are also retuned from their regular notes too, to make everything line up properly. There are a bunch of other neat effects in this piece too, like slapping the string to the fingerboard or thumb sliding, and the time signatures are all over the place. But anyway, with unusual music, I find it can help to have a setting in mind. Like how when I first listened to the second movement of Debussy's cello sonata, it sounded pretty darn weird until I thought of it as someone exploring a cave with a lantern. And now it sounds pretty cool. So with Concerto Rotondo, I played movement 3 first, for which I imagine a traveler in the Middle East on a long journey, followed by movement 2, for which I imagine the traveler arriving at a crowded festival and taking in all of the different celebrations going on in the late evening light. I invite you to imagine this traveler and the festival as you listen. It may not be what the composer intended, but I think it fits. It's also the most difficult piece I've ever performed. I hope you enjoy listening to it.
All right, and Mark S., we're going to hear a little bit from you as well, but or we'll hear a little bit of you recorded later as well. But what's this personal connection that you have with your piece, Bill's Bulgar?
Well, Matthew, first of all, I'll get to that in a second, but I just want to say I am the newest member of the SAO. And of course, anybody who knows me knows that I would probably be the only one who would be crazy enough to join an orchestra in a pandemic. So, but that's just par for the course for me. But having said that, I am absolutely hugely enjoying being part of the group. Everybody's so welcoming and we have so much fun together virtually, and I'm looking forward to having the opportunity to actually get together in real time and face to face one day, so we can make music the actual old-fashioned way. This piece that I'm going to be playing is called Bill's Bulgar, and it is music in the klezmer style. And I was part of a klezmer band a few years ago, and this was a piece that Bill had brought to the band actually before I joined, but apparently it has been composed by somebody, but we just knew it as Bill as Bulgar number 18, and because Bill, my late friend, and his wife Lorene, Bill discovered this, and so I've always thought of it as Bill's Bulgar, and I play it tonight in his memory. Thanks.
Thank you, Mark. So we'll first enjoy the Pastorale from Corelli's Christmas Concerto, which I think has almost nothing to do with Christmas, but and then followed by Neil performing the Concerto Rotondo that he introduced, and finally with Mark performing Bill's Bulgar.
This piece is called Bill's Bulgar. It is a piece that was discovered somehow by my late friend, Mr. Bill Swagman, and I play it in his loving memory.
By the way, Mark also contributes, besides being our newest member in the orchestra, he also contributes to our growing number of pairs of members who share a name. By my count, I think we have now 2 Marks, 2 Ruths, and 2 Andreas, and we are always recruiting. So if you play a stringed instrument, you should join us. And if you happen to have the same name as one of us, you should all the more reason to join. I'm currently, for example, feeling quite lonely as the only Matthew in the orchestra. Speaking of me, I guess I'm up next. The Beethoven Sonata in E major, which will be the first piece I perform, is one of the final works that Beethoven wrote, and a lot of music that Beethoven wrote in this time period is very mysterious, very otherworldly. The second piece that I present to you is the main theme from the 2020 revival of Digimon Adventure. So the original Digimon was actually one of the shows that I grew up with, which tells you about how old I am. So when I found out that they were doing I believe it's a 25th anniversary, 20 or 25th anniversary revival, I was super excited about it. And it's become part of my weekend cartoon routine. I still have one of those. So these 2 pieces gives you a bit of a glimpse into my life. By the way, after the formal portion of this concert ends, please feel free to stay around and chat. We normally do this. I mean, we normally do this after concerts anyway, over cookies and coffee. But this year you'll have to bring your own. I have mine right here. All right.
Wow, that was very, very, very impressive, Matthew. Thank you very much for sharing your amazing talent at the piano with all of us. We are so lucky to have you here. And now we are reaching the close to the end of our program today. And for the final piece, we decided to take a walk down memory lane. One of our winter standards is a piece we've played since the orchestra began, Let It Snow. We've put together a musically creative, somewhat avant-garde, slightly disjoint reminder of these happy times when performances meant we could see the swell of an audience in the room. We look forward to post-pandemic era when once again, you, our audience, can physically join us in the auditorium. We hope you enjoy this jaunt through holiday concerts past. Without further ado, let it snow.
this concludes the formal portion of tonight's concert. Big thank you for all the musicians who performed and for those those who stuck with us over the last difficult months. Thank you to Ruth L. and the rest of the board for steering this time. And of course, to all of you who joined us tonight, without whom this would not have meaning. So Ruth, why don't I pass the time back to you, and I look forward to chatting with all of you afterwards.
Thank you, Matthew. I'd like to really thank you, our audience, for joining us on Zoom tonight for our 2020 holiday concert. I know it means a lot to all of our members to have you here today. Thanks also to our past sponsors who have made this orchestra possible. Your gracious support in past years has allowed us to be strong enough to weather this pandemic. As we all know, this year has had many ups and downs, and this pandemic has thrown us into a world we could never have imagined. To top off that turmoil, Matthew and I proposed a crazy adventure of recording a Zoom concert to our members, and they all plunged into the deep end without any doubts. Performing digitally is a lot more challenging than it may appear and requires a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, plus some very major dedication. I would like to thank our members for all of the hard work and learning they have put into this adventure. I'd also like to thank the Strings Attached Orchestra's Board of Directors, as well as our new administrator, Dan McKinnon, and our many orchestra volunteers for their hard work and dedication. Without all of you, we wouldn't be able to make it all happen. Last, but most definitely not least, I would like to thank Matthew for everything he has done throughout the course of this pandemic to keep us playing together. It hasn't been easy, and all of us have had to adapt, many of us well outside of our comfort zones. But the bulk of this work has fallen on Matthew's shoulders, and he's picked up all of those pieces without even blinking. Thank you, Matthew, for helping us keep our dreams alive.